Good morning and welcome to Counterpoints. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Israel yesterday. We're going to talk about what he said publicly after meetings with leaders across the region. We're also going to get into this insane Bitcoin hack of the SEC. Emily, what else we got today?
The White House faced some really tough questions in the briefing yesterday over Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's apparently unknown health condition to the White House. So the president doesn't seem to have been cued in on what's going on with the Secretary of Defense. We have some great clips from the briefing yesterday. We're going to cover the most bizarre story in recent memory, and that would be the Crown Heights tunnels. Speaking of good video, we've got some good video in that block.
What? It's indescribable. You're just going to have to sit around and wait for that one.
And
just
while
incredible.
we try to describe the indescribable.
Yeah. You'll have to just watch it. Yeah, if you're listening to this on the podcast, go find some videos of what happened in Crown Heights. It's going to blow your mind.
And in some great news, Don Lemon is back, and we're all over the story.
He never left my heart.
Not in your heart, right? That's important. We also finally got, I think, probably the best graphic of all time, because Ken Klippenstein is here, and we're just referring to him as Kenny Clips now.
He's Kenny Clips. He and a bunch of other lefty journalists were suspended yesterday. He's going to talk about what his brief time kicked off of Twitter was like, because there was an outrage, and he and a bunch of the others were reinstated. He also has a big scoop coming later today. He probably won't be ready in time for this show, but we'll post that once it's up. That's going to be interesting. That's all I can say at this point.
So Kenny Clips is here.
Kenny Clips will be here.
Before Kenny Clips, though, Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about what's been swirling around the SEC just in like the last 12 hours?
Yeah, so we can put up this first element here, but basically what happened is somebody was able to hack the SEC's Twitter account, and I'm calling it Twitter because it's twitter.com, and as long as he's using twitter.com, it's Twitter, all right? So somebody hacked the SEC's Twitter account and posted on it basically that the SEC had approved EFT Bitcoin products or EFT crypto products. There was a lawsuit against the SEC by crypto backers that said you have to allow EFTs, which are basically a way for institutional and other kind of retail investors to get invested in something without putting their actual money in it. So you don't actually have to buy the Bitcoin, or if you want to do, anything else, the S&P 500. You can buy an EFT that kind of mirrors the performance of the S&P. And what they're saying is there should be an EFT that mirrors the performance of, say, Bitcoin. And so the lawsuit was successful, and so there is an upcoming decision rule from the SEC that the Bitcoin world is eagerly anticipating. I think Bitcoin is up like 60% over the last several months in anticipation of this ruling. So somebody got a hold of the SEC's account and jumped the gun. I don't know, what's the next element that we have here?
This is so let's put this up. This is roughly 2 times as much market cap was destroyed by the SEC's tweet as was lost in the FTX blowup.
Right, because it sent things in a tailspin. And so people are like making and losing money all over the place. As some of the people in the crypto world accurately said afterwards, if this happened, actually I think it was a Winklevoss twin that I saw quoted
one of
talking
the
about. One of the Winklevi said if this would happen at any publicly traded company, the SEC would be demanding an investigation. So now Twitter has posted, this is from Twitter, their safety. We can confirm that the account SEC Gov was compromised and we have completed a preliminary investigation. Based on our investigation, the compromise was not due to any breach of X's systems, that's Twitter, but rather due to an unidentified individual obtaining control over a phone number associated with the SEC account through a third party. We can also confirm that the account did not have two-factor authentication enabled at the time the account was compromised. We encourage all users to enable this extra layer of security. More information and tips on how to keep your account secure can be found in our help center. One of the scandals that Musk first brought to Twitter was making people pay for two-factor.
Sure.
Like, this is like incredibly dangerous because everybody should have two-factor. Like if you're watching this and you don't have two-factor, get it. Basically that means
if you work at the SEC.
If you work at the SEC, do the Authenticator app. Go beyond just two-factor with a phone number. Two-factor means like you just just having your password is not enough to hack into your phone, or because if you don't have two-factor, you can also guess, not just guess at somebody's password, but you can hit the forgot password.
Right.
And if they have the phone associated with the account, then that request then goes to that phone, and that seems to be what happened. So they basically hit forgot password on SEC's Twitter account. It sent something to a phone that they had gotten access to through some third-party vendor, and then they reset the password, went in there, and made a fake SEC announcement.
Yeah.
And billions of dollars changed hands.
Let's put the next element up on the screen. This is delicious. Here's a tweet from the SEC from October. Careful what you read on the internet. The best source of information about the SEC is the SEC. If that source of information, actually, Ryan, is that the SEC is incapable of handling the most basic of tasks, then indeed the best source of information about the SEC is the SEC.
If what Twitter says is true, Twitter is a biased source here because they're on the line, they're on the hook here as well. But they're making very definitive statements, and when you make a clear statement like that, I tend to give them, I tend to assume they're probably telling the truth.
Yeah, they came out hard.
Because if it's something that can be detected as false, and you're dealing with the SEC, you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So I just assume that they're telling the truth here. And if that's the case, what an extraordinary blunder from whoever was running the SEC's Twitter account. And if it turns out that the SEC had some intern, they're like, it's Twitter, let an intern run the account. That's insane, because tweets move markets, as we saw with some hilarious tweets about insulin is free, right after Elon Musk bought Twitter and allowed anybody to be verified. People were buying the names of fake companies and posting things and moving billions of dollars around.
Right. And sometimes when people hack a government account, they do something that is sort of a slapstick troll. This was a much better troll than just saying something like Joe Biden sucks.
And what's so funny, and then we'll move on to some more serious news, is that Bitcoin and crypto are trying to show that they can be responsible members of the financial community, and they're days away from getting this announcement from the SEC, and some hacker preempts it by hacking the SEC. It's like, all right, yeah, sure, bring them on in.
We're all just having fun here.
What could go wrong? Yeah, this seems fine.
Yeah, what a crazy story, and a reminder of how vulnerable the markets are and especially a tweet is one thing, but you have vulnerability in the market because a tweet can change the market, but then also it's really easy for a tweet to be posted. These two layers of security or these layers of stability, I should say, are always really vulnerable.
Right, and their account is SEC Gov. The problem Twitter had earlier was they were verifying whatever, and so you could get, SEC Gov,
right,
and post something and fool people for 5 minutes, and that's enough to move, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, if you liked that video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Breaking Points.
If you want to see the rest of Counterpoints, go to breakingpoints.com to become a premium member and get the full uncut show every morning in your inbox and on Spotify.
Help us build independent news and get the full show every morning at breakingpoints.com.